And we are live.
Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Rukradowski and Jason Burmis of WeAreChange.org doing a breaking news report right now with, of course, the news just coming out that Alex Jones and InfoWars have been permanently banned from Twitter. Now, this is really big breaking news that set a very dangerous precedent when it comes to online freedom and, of course, freedom of speech. Now, Jason, this is actually shocking since Twitter right now decided to do this weeks before all the other big online institutions did this as well. And the Twitter safety handle at Twitter Safety just released a statement saying, today we permanently suspended at Real Alex Jones and at InfoWars from Twitter and Periscope. We took this action based on new reports of tweets and videos posted yesterday that violate our abusive behavior policy, in addition to the account past violations. And they, of course, posted a link to their very generalized terms and services that have been selectively used by Twitter, Jason. I think that's a very fair statement to make here. But a lot of news reports are coming out that this ban happened because of the confrontation that happened yesterday between Alex Jones and Oliver Darcy of CNN. And if you guys know about Oliver Darcy, he has been one of the main campaigners pushing for Alex Jones to be deplatformed for major social media networks. There's a lot of tweets. There's a lot of him going on the record and actively lobbying corporations and the big tech monopolies to get rid of Alex Jones from their platform. I actually have the video here. Jason, I'm going to send it to you, so maybe you could send it off in the chat room. I'm going to try to actually just send it to the chat room of the actual video that got Alex Jones banned. But you saw this video, Jason. I saw this video. The video on can you hear me?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And we've got his face up there.
Yeah, the video right now is called Alex Jones Confronts CNN Reporter Oliver Darcy. It's on YouTube on other channels. As we know, Alex Jones has been banned from YouTube as well a couple weeks ago. But I just rewatched this video now, and they're calling this abusive behavior, but it is Alex Jones confronting someone lobbying to take him down from online major platforms, and he does kind of verbally abuse him and say, I think one of the worst things that he said in this video, Jason, was that he looks like a raccoon that crawled out of a dead animal's buttocks. Paraphrasing that. But if Twitter is using this video as being reported by many news outlets right now for the main reason why they banned him, they might as well ban 3/4 of the internet right now. Because again, this is nothing compared to what else is out there. And for this to be the main reason why he's banned definitely seems like not a good reason at all. Because again, the worst thing that I see Alex Jones say here is that this person looks like a raccoon that crawled out of a dead animal's butt.
Well, I watched it live. First of all, we've had our issues with Alex Jones. We call him out on the show when we don't agree.
And Jason, it's important to make people know here, we don't agree. I personally don't agree with Alex Jones. I don't like Alex Jones. But again, this is more important than just our personal biases and our personal disagreements and personal business dealings that we had with the man before. This is bigger than that. And this is far more important.
First of all, 1,000 props go out to Alex and InfoWars yesterday. What they did yesterday was honestly revolutionary. I can't say it enough. And here are some of the highlights of what he had to say to Darcy.
Well, I wouldn't call it that. I would disagree with you.
And I think we should have the conversation
That's your personal belief.
All right, but here's why. First of all, these Senate hearings are not about Russians. They mask all these Senate hearings around fake news and election fraud and the Ruskies. Guess what? There aren't going to be any Russians in that Senate hearing. Instead, you have a representative of Facebook who looks like a human being this time, a rather attractive young executive, and Jack Dorsey that can handle his own. Jones goes there, has an epic confrontation with Marco Rubio, who tries to act like he doesn't know who he is. Marco, you should have owned up and at least said you knew who the man was. It makes you look dishonest, even though you're a politician. Let's start there. And then when he got Darcy, he called him incredibly shameful, anti-American, a free speech coward, said you hate America so much you make me sick. I'd go on and on and on. It was something where Darcy kept saying, well, you're still on Twitter. You're still on Twitter. Well, guess what? Jones is no longer on Twitter less than 24 hours, and we can call this a bullying loop, but you know what's still on Twitter and every other social media platform? my name is Tyrone, and I'm here to F your wife. And then he'll knock somebody's cigarette out of their mouth or hit their bottle of soda. That's never been flagged. No one ever.
Yeah, I would totally fight that guy. I would lose, but I would totally fight that guy.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Can you imagine a man coming up to you, telling you that he is going to take your wife sexually, knock your cigarette out of your mouth, and he's a YouTube, Instagram, Facebook superstar. He's not somebody that got provision for the bullying policy. So what is this really about, Rudkowski?
Exactly, and for Twitter to ban Alex Jones for this is absolute just hooey. It's absolute hooey what's happening here. Oliver Darcy just tweeted with the kind of breaking flash that, yes, Alex Jones and InfoWars have been permanently banned from Twitter. So a lot of people are also celebrating this. Vice just released a little gif of Alex Jones screaming, saying this is Alex Jones, kind of celebrating this fact. We don't like Alex Jones, but there's nothing to celebrate here. This is an extremely dangerous precedent that just happened. Right now, Alex Jones is officially persona non grata, has been permanently banned from all major social media platforms. And this is something to really worry about and really consider moving forward in this new digital day and age that is having more of an impact on our lives. There's a guy named Thomas Hearn that just tweeted this, and I agree with this cold-heartedly. I don't watch or like Alex Jones and InfoWars, but they shouldn't be censored. Why is Louis Farrakhan, Linda Sarsour, and Nidad Awad allowed on Twitter, but Jones not? That's a very important question. And if you look at, Jack Dorsey, this is someone to really take a close look at. He's tweeting right now about his health and about how, quote, he's making progress really quickly through small steps, which is pretty much exactly what he was saying yesterday during the commissions. Like, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. This, of course, was great for all the government officials and statists who just love censorship, who love freedom of speech being squashed, but everyone on the internet was like, hey, no, this is not okay what you're doing, because you are having a major effect on our national discourse. And whatever crazy stuff Alex Jones said, you could easily negate, you could debate it, you could actually more sensibly talk it through than just trying to censor it and making it even bigger and making it even more popular. Recently, just a few days ago, the Wall Street Journal reported that it was Jack Dorsey who personally weighed in and supposedly protected Alex Jones from being banned when all the other big social media networks were banning them. Now, of course, there's some Twitter officials who say that is absolutely not true. I think it definitely is true, because when you're a CEO of a major company, you have to make major decisions. This is a major decision that just happened right now. And if people remember, just a few days ago, Twitter admitted they unfairly shadow banned 600,000 accounts. That is 600,000 individuals who were taken away, who were shadow banned, who were censored from the national discourse, creating, of course, an alternative reality that the big tech giants want to promote. And their bias is extremely clear. The people at Vice News celebrating this, the people at BuzzFeed celebrating this, you guys are celebrating more entrapment of your basic freedom of speech and hurting the national discourse. Once you start dictating what people can and cannot say, who can have a voice and who cannot have a voice, you have a technocracy, because you have only a few tech billionaires deciding that personally. And that is a society that's not going to be with freedom. That's a society with a lot of control. So again, for just insulting Oliver Darcy, I mean, this just tells you everything that you need to know, because again, there's a lot of other worse stuff on the internet that they could ban. This is obviously very selective. This is obviously Twitter saying, yes, we're on the side of CNN. CNN, the biggest proponent of fake news out there, the people who literally eat human brains on television, who talk about black holes conquering swallowing airplanes. These buttholes who have lied and shilled for the establishment are not on the side of humanity. They're not on the side of the people. They're on the side of the very few, of the very wealthy, who are trying to control the national discourse. This is a step towards it. They're using Alex Jones as a stepping stone, and it won't end with Alex Jones. As we have seen, people on the left, people who are anti-war, people who are anti-John McCain, also be censored from the platform. It is pretty much anyone going against the grain, anyone being against the establishment that's getting cut right now. And again, not a good thing. I don't like Alex Jones, but he does deserve to have a voice, like everyone deserves to have a voice. That is the whole epitome of a free and open society. And right now, our society is becoming less open, less free. We're having less conversations, we're having less dialogue, and we're only empowering the crazies and the radicals and the conspiracy theories and all these other things that absolutely make no sense at all and are destroying actual conversation that could solve all the world's problems. But no, Twitter just says you can't say someone looks like a raccoon that crawled out of someone's butt. It's ridiculous. It's freaking ridiculous.
Well, the other thing is, Luke, Dorsey, well, he didn't have a lot of answers yesterday, and you're right, he said, we should have done it better. He was cowing down at every moment. He's like, this election thing, it's so real, it's so real. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg in the beginning joked about it. He said, I think it's pretty telling that you think that a couple of posts on social media would sway people's minds, and laughed it off. But now that it's serious, now that the government's involved, everybody is just honing in. And then the other thing that Dorsey kept saying was, this digital
Wait, let me
square.
let me interrupt you, because there's been other scientific studies before that have been done that have shown how Google, Facebook, and Twitter can swing elections, can decide who's going to be in power with their algorithms. And obviously the algorithms are very heavily manipulated. Obviously, it is not what it used to be before. Social media, YouTube, Facebook used to be, oh, this is what is posted first, this is what I subscribe to. No, now it is contrived. Now it is controlled. The revolution will not be in your timeline, will not be in your general website page run by these big tech giants, because they are manipulating the algorithm. And Facebook has even conducted studies, psychological studies, of how they could change people's emotions and feelings based on how they manipulate the algorithm of the front page and what they decide to show people and what they don't show people. So this is something very severe, very important. The algorithm's manipulated. The game is rigged on big social media, and today's events definitely prove it. Sorry, Jason, keep going.
No, absolutely. But again, he kept referring it. Jack Dorsey kept referring to it, Luke, as the digital public square. So am I going to get my First Amendment, Luke? Do I have my First Amendment? And I believe, Radowski, that the reason isn't because that little weasel, Darcy, got confronted. It was that I was within arm's length of Satan himself, Jack Dorsey, asking a question. And that one's for Michelle Mead. That's for you. Thank you so much for being one of our subscribers. You asked for it. You got it. And Luke, I want to read this tweet from R.A. the Rugged Man, classic underground rapper, somebody you interviewed back in the day on the We Are Change channel.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. R.A. Kills it right here with this tweet. Even if Alex Jones is an over-the-top circus clown at times, I am completely against deplatforming voices of opposition, even if the voice is crazy. As we speak, the government is aiming to deplatform whistleblowers next. Truth exposers will be deplatformed next. Trust me. Amen, yes. R.A.
Yeah, and he's 100% right. Even in yesterday's hearing, U.S. Senator Tom Cotton came out and said, Jack Dorsey, why haven't you personally banned WikiLeaks from having a voice on your platform? That's the mentality of the government that these big social media tech giants are cowering to. And of course, whistleblowers are next. Of course, anti-war people are next. Anti-establishment people are next. And they already have been on the chopping block, and many of them have already been silenced. If you look at the algorithm changes that Facebook has implemented, they have pretty much wiped out the majority of alternative media, whether it's the Anti-Media, the Free Thought Project, and hundreds of other Facebook Facebook pages that promote alternative information, alternative medicine. They have all been either deleted, purged, or censored to a level where they can no longer continue their operations. They're now continuing on a very low basis. They had to fire a bunch of their staff. We're barely surviving with the changes that we've been hit with all the kind of social engineering that has been happening behind the scenes, trying to silence all of us. So it's been an extremely difficult time for people's voices to get out there, and the special interest and the powers that be are slowly galvanizing more control of it, and they epitomified that today with the censoring of Alex Jones and InfoWars from Twitter. And I don't want to live in a society where Silicon Valley types think that they could decide what is best for us to see and determine and to deviate us from their kind of social utopia that they're trying to engineer for us. That's ultimately what's happening right now, and it's sickening, and it sucks major donkey balls, Jason.
Well, there's a lot more on top of this. You know, he called it McCarthyism 2.0 yesterday, and he's right. You know, they are, in a roundabout way, accusing him of all these different things and then bringing it back to the Russians, and we've heard Hillary Clinton say, well, when you read something on InfoWars, that's directly coming out of Poot's mouth. And I know that you've heard similar things, having worked for Russia Today briefly. You're never going to be able to shake that you are a Ruski agent. Abby Martin, who wasn't working for Russia Today for years, was in the original public FBI document as one of the reasons that Trump got elected. I don't think there's a bigger critic of Trump out there in the alternative media. And now we have Mueller subpoenaing Jerome Corsi. Now, here's the question. Is this the real deal? Jones went on the air today. He fully thinks that he's not only going to be subpoenaed, he's going to be indicted. Do you think they bring Corsi in? They try to get him to say something dishonest, charge him with perjury, try to get him to flip, and this is how they possibly indict Stone and even Alex Jones in this kangaroo Russiagate trial that's now been going on for almost a year and a half, no end in sight. We now have Papadopoulos. You know, I was in a meeting with Trump and they suggested he meet with Putin and I saw him nod. He didn't say yes. He didn't say, let's have a meeting with Putin. Someone supposedly suggested a meeting with Putin, and Papadopoulos is saying he saw the Trump nod. This is getting into the realm of a literal leprechaun riding a unicorn over a rainbow into a pot of gold filled with Russians. That's all I can say, Luke. Go ahead.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Stormy Daniels and Fedor Emelianenko with the FBI sending their resources on those frickin' just idiotic nonsense that has no actual proof or collusion of the whole Russian conspiracy that they've been trying to push on people. But regardless, they're still attacking full force as they can. And I think the bigger question out of today needs to be asked, you know, what impartial standard was kind of used to ban Alex Jones? Because the only thing that they're really going after him now, the only real excuse they have for banning him now is being mean to reporters in public. How does that violate a permanent how does that warrant a permanent Twitter expulsion and permanent Twitter ban? It just doesn't. If they're going to be following these standards, they're literally going to have to delete 3/4 of accounts on Twitters right now because everyone's mean to each other, especially on social media. I get the comments here, Pinocchio, the love child of Bill Maher and Vladimir Putin, but I would never stoop to Oliver Darcy's level and be like, this is banned. Ban him, get rid of him. This is hurting my feelings. No, like, man up. We're on the internet here. It's like people are going to say mean things. People have always said mean things. They're going to continue to say mean things. And for that to be a justification for expulsion, for termination, for getting rid of that public discourse, for that public dialogue, for people to debate and talk about ideas is absolutely ridiculous. It is engineered. It is socially engineered for people to go first with feelings and emotions rather than logic that will actually progress us towards human society. And the people and the big social controllers love this because they're engineering people in a way where they're calling for their own restrictions of their own speech. This sets a dangerous precedent and will affect others. We don't like Alex, but it's not just about Alex. This is far bigger, far more beyond, and it's going to have a big effect on all of us. And it already has. It already has been. You look at everything that has been happening on the major big social media networks throughout the last few years, we have been getting screwed. We were one of the first YouTube channels to get demonetized. Still, every single video we have been releasing for over a year now automatically put up for review. Again, we don't curse. We don't violate any terms of services. It doesn't matter. The algorithm, what people see, what is promoted, what is popular is determined by a few executives. And of course, anything going against them, their interests, their buddies in Washington, D.C., of course, will be destroyed, deleted, censored, whitewashed, shadow banned, and just gone from history. And this is pretty much, the internet is the historical record of what's happening here, and they're just purging everything that they don't like. Again, I don't know what else to say, but this sucks, Jason. This
definitely does suck. And you know what? With that in mind, I want to thank a couple of the new members. $4.99 a month. You hit the join button. Helps us out so much. Coochie Mama, thank you so much. And Michelle Mead, I gave you that Alex Jones impression. We really do appreciate it.
There's also some more breaking news before. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Paul Joseph Watson at Prison Planet on Twitter has been now hit with a 12-hour Twitter ban on the platform, because now Twitter is vowing to evaluate his account and all the other accounts that are associated with InfoWars. So that's also new breaking news that just happened a few minutes ago. I'm scouring Twitter right now, looking at what's happening. So Paul Watson has also been temporarily banned, has a 12-hour ban right now on Twitter. Sorry, continue, Jason.
No, because you know what? That means that Rob Dew is probably going to be there. David Knight, obviously Owen Schroer. Maybe I'll give Dew a text. I talked to him a few weeks ago when they actually first got taken down off of Facebook and whatnot permanently. So maybe he does get a text. But, you know, again, that's why this is so important, guys, because if we don't push, remember, they're out there calling it a digital public square. The majority of internet traffic in the United States right now, where they're supposedly trying to save our elections, is Facebook, is Twitter. So why wouldn't they want more speech, more discourse, more viewpoints? But that's not the way it works. They're openly pushing their own political agendas, and it's extremely dangerous, and that's why even your super chats are so important. So I want to just go through these super chats real quick. Or do you not want to go through
them? Wait. Let me make one more point. With the help and cooperation of the government, Barack Obama previously said that these big social media tech giants would not exist if it wasn't for government funding. The government has been instrumental in pushing these big tech giants to be at the positions that they are now and to be considered monopolies. They get tax incentives. They get tax breaks. They have Google and all these other tech giants have one of the biggest lobbying efforts in Washington, D.C. They are cohesively, hand in hand, working together in many different ways. And of course, the biggest, most obvious one is, of course, the biggest spying apparatus that is being used on the American people. And that's the NSA spying program, which, of course, these big tech companies comply with fully. So these companies, again, work hand in hand with government. Wouldn't exist if it wasn't for government. Get tax breaks and incentives monetarily from government. These are not just private corporations. They are public utilities where public conversations happen. I do not believe that the government should come in here, because many people are saying that this could also be a false flag to get government regulation, to have government control over social media. I do believe one reasonable, viable solution is to cut off the cord. And if they're a private corporation, treat them like every other private corporation and have them give back all the money that was given to them and incentivized by the U.S. government. That, I think, is a good step. So I don't want to muddy the waters here. I'm not calling for big government to get intervene here, because, again, that's going to lead to another slippery slope, and the government would pretty much do the same thing as these tech executives and these Silicon Valley types are doing right now.
No, absolutely. And you know what? That has to be looked at, because when everybody is talking about these things being private entities, private companies, well, when they're not paying any taxes, when they are subsidized by so much corporate welfare from our government, when they are in bed with the telecommunications wing of the NSA, of Homeland Security, when they're giving away all of our data, when they're selling off all of our data to other private corporations, are they really a private corporation? Especially, again, Luke, when they're saying, Jack Dorsey is saying, we are the digital public square. So I want to hit these super chats really quick. This one is from Trues. And he's saying Monday and Matt flagged Alex Jones. I don't know if there's any truth to that. Dreddy Bear, AJ is right when he says big tech is working with the Chinese net censorship since Apple moved over. It's the big push. You guys, we are Change Colorado member here. Thank you so much. Well, we've been talking about Chinese censorship. We've been talking about globalism. We've been talking about how they've all been moving towards each other. You know, as China has blue jeans and Coca-Cola and McDonald's and more of the Western culture, we get more of their authoritarianism. We get more of the state being big brother, regulating everything. Dreddy Bear gave us another one because AJ openly talked about Apple and Chinese collusion. This is from Trues. Y'all should be promoting Gab RN. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look it up. And
well, Gab is an alternative social media platform that a lot of right-wingers have moved to that have been censored or permanently banned from Twitter. We do use other alternatives like Steemit. Steemit.com/@LukeWeAreChange is one of the platforms that we use. We use BitChute. We use DLive, DTube. We're trying to expand mostly in the cryptocurrency aspect because there's a lot more transparency through the blockchain than there is throughout all these other platforms that are socially engineered to manipulate us by the big tech giants that cooperate with government. Just simply said there, just passively, just kind of marking that statement there as a very important one. Alternatives are very key right now. So again, I'm going to just post our Steemit location. That's really the best one. That's been the best alternative for us that has helped us out also financially. I'm posting it in the comment section right now that people could actually go on to. And as being an active user, even the users who upvote and leave comments get cryptocurrencies, get Steam dollars for participating in. You don't have to invest anything in. It is based off cryptocurrency, blockchain technology that has been efficient for us. We've been using for over a year now, and it has been extremely, extremely helpful. It's not as big as all the other ones because, again, in reality, there's a bigger point to be made here. If you are doing anything in real life now, you have to be on one of the big tech monopolies. Whatever you're doing, whatever business you have, whatever organization or whatever you're doing in life, you need to be on Google. You need to use that platform. You need to use Facebook. You need to use Twitter. You need to use Instagram in order to get your message across to the masses. They know this. This is the kind of Achilles heel that many people have been seeing as a free and open internet that could actually help human civilization. And this is why we're seeing such an attack on it, because it is a threat to power. Us being able to discuss ideas, talk about things, whether they're wrong or sensational or even just out there, being able to rationally discuss them and break them down is a key factor in our liberties, in our freedoms, in being able to take away bad actors, bad people who are protected by the powerful. And this is why we're seeing such an egregious attack on those liberties, on those freedoms that we have had online but are being taken away right now. Sorry, continue, Jason.
No, absolutely. And you know what? I want to just skip over to one of these super chats. And by the way, Trues, we're going to go back to you in a second. And thanks for everybody. But Titus Frost, who I interviewed on the Backup channel about the origins of Q. And actually, it's really interesting. He gave me a big interview on what he believes is the origin. And then Jack Posobiec, I always mispronounce it. What is it, Luke?
Probiotic.
Not probiotic. Jack Posobiec just released an article detailing where he believes the origins of Q are from. And Titus is pointing out that there are over 12,000 pedo Twitter accounts anonymous, documented, and reported. This is the actual group Anonymous. This isn't a 4chan post. Documented and reported who were not suspended. And I remember Titus did do a video on that. So really, what are the standards when pedophile accounts are okay? Think about that. But Alex Jones isn't. And I've seen some of these people, maybe they're not posting child pornography, but they're actually advocating that pedosexual should be recognized as human beings instead of the demons that they are. I'm just going to leave it at that, and we're going to keep going through these truths.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's promoted. And it's important to again note here, Alex Jones is not perfect. He is sensational a lot of the times during his reporting. One of the things we were calling him out on was him saying that he had a personal phone line and having personal conversations with Q. We were making fun of Q because this thing was absolutely just ridiculous. And we were like, how can Alex Jones claim to have this? But we had that opportunity. He has the right to express himself, even though he is wrong sometimes. And it is good that we're able to have a discourse and a dialogue about it. Censoring it is only going to push people further to the extremes, and him not being able to publicly discuss these things is ultimately very hurtful for everyone in the long term. Sorry, continue, Jason.
No, you're absolutely true. That's the thing. People should be able to speculate. Just because I retweet somebody doesn't mean it's an endorsement of everything they've ever said. I know you get this all the time, Luke, but your alliance with Alex Jones. Excuse me, I worked for the man 8 years ago now. When does my life get to move on? When do I not be completely associated with everything he said in the last 6 months? I have my own brain, I have my own mouth, I've said my own things, I've made my own productions, and anybody can espouse what I say to me. But at the same time, I'm glad there's that other voice. All right, back to truths. Twitter holds government contracts, thus it's an extension of government. They should be following U.S. Constitution and federal government rules. I agree, but we haven't really had trust busting in this country. Oh, I don't know, in 140, 50 years since Teddy Roosevelt. When was the last big trust? Ma Bell in the 80s, that's it. We haven't seen a lot of that stuff. Truths. Make social media public utility or force U.S. companies to abide by U.S. Constitution or not operate in the U.S. What do you think about that one?
Wait, say that again? Sorry, I'm looking at Twitter right now.
He basically says make social media public utility or force U.S. companies to abide by U.S. Constitution or not operate in the U.S. I would say the problem with that is a lot of these companies have already moved a lot of their offices outside of the United States, especially when you look at someone like Apple. Facebook planning to do the same thing, and there's going to be constant outsourcing, and people would use that loophole, so I'm not sure that would work, Luke.
Yeah, I don't agree with more government. I don't believe in more government intrusion, and I believe the government would act very similarly if they had control of the big social media networks. I believe the vote and the response really has to be from the people going to alternatives. That, to me, is one solution. It's not a viable one right now, especially with the sheer numbers of people that these tech monopolies were able to gather. And again, it's important to note here, they were able to gather those big numbers on their platforms because originally they were free and open platforms where you actually got to see what you were subscribed to in an orderly, timely fashion. If someone released something, you were online, you were subscribed to them, you got to see that. Right now, that's not how the game works. The game works with predictive algorithms that are meant to evoke emotions and to sell you stuff and to be a big marketing tool that sell your private information, not only to third-party corporations, international banksters, but also the government. They are a hand, they are an institution of the government. They're playing this little middle ground. I don't see the government doing anything favorable towards the people when it comes to giving them free access. It wouldn't be in the benefit of the government to allow social media networks to be open and free. They wouldn't want that. So I would certainly not want a government hand in this. The voices have to be raised. The alarms have to be raised. We're on YouTube right now. This is one of the platforms that we invested a lot of our time in, and it was a trap all along. We were trying to warn people it's a trap. We were always trying to push people to alternatives. It never really kind of worked out. That's the reality of the situation. I'm not going to paint a little fuzzy, nice little picture here when in reality it's not a good picture. It's a crappy one. It's pretty much painted with Sacha Baron's crap, and you got all these fake limousine liberals and right-wing tards clamoring like it's one of the most beautiful things out there because they love state, they love authority, they love people telling other people what to do. There's two types of people. There's not Republicans and Democrats out there. There's people who believe in the use of force against others, and there's people who don't and want people to live peacefully. I am, of course, in that peaceful racket where most people are. The few people, you could see them clearly because they're cheering on this news. They're celebrating that InfoWars and Alex Jones have been permanently banned and censored. Government, to me, will never be the solution, will never be the answer. We just have to make as much noise as we can, if we can, to effectively get people away and move to alternative platforms. Will that work? I don't know. It's not looking that likely, to be completely honest with you, Jason.
Well, the thing is that I remember to try to push. Here's the thing. I actually pulled up a video from 9 years ago, Luke, when my Info Warrior channel got banned. It was before the strike system, so it just got taken down, and there wasn't much of a review process. And it's me and Jones talking, and this was 9 years ago. And I was talking about how maybe we should move to Blip TV, or Vimeo had just started. And yeah, Vimeo is still around as a platform, but it's certainly not around as a platform like television, like YouTube is, where everybody's going to watch it. Justin.tv, that was a platform back in the day. That streaming service has now basically gone to gamers and become Twitch. So some of these things have evolved, but none of them have evolved into a competitive, well, I mean, we're seeing Facebook Watch, but again, we'll see how that goes. You know, we applied for a Facebook Watch page. There may be some exciting news on that front for us in the future, but we really don't know. We're kind of in this digital jungle right now where people are self-censoring, and that's certainly something we never want to do. I want to finish up with these last few Super Chats. Guys, thank you so much for the Super Chats. Again, they help us big time. Dreddy Bear, Minds is the future platform. I'm not sure what that platform is. I guess we'll have to check it out. At Break the Chains Media. Nimrudo. This feels like a ploy to foment aggression between statist ideologues to start some kind of a civil war. I really don't think we're going to see a civil war here. I know a lot of people think that if Trump gets impeached, there may be a physical civil war in this country. I don't see that happening. Later on tonight, I'm going to have a video up about not only the op-ed, but James Mattis, the Secretary of Defense, E4Bs, Syria, Russians bombing in the lab. A lot of big news that this was a great broadcast, but there's so much to cover, Luke. And I know that you're like totally spent. You just came back from this 2-week, you were off with all this stuff, and it is like a hurricane right now.
Yeah, it's a hurricane. There's a lot of important news. We're not ending this broadcast yet. There's still a lot to cover. There's still a lot of breaking news. So for everyone tuning in right now, we're covering, of course, Alex Jones being permanently banned from Twitter, along with InfoWars and Prison Planet. Paul Watson getting a 12-hour ban on Twitter right now. Twitter was one of the last few remaining places where InfoWars and Alex Jones was able to have a voice. This is weeks before, Facebook, YouTube, what else? Tumblr,
iTunes.
Spotify. What is that other one that gets those annoying emails that he never used?
Chip Mail, right? Wasn't it?
Chip Mail and LinkedIn. All of these other social media platforms and all these tech giants colluded to delete and censor and ban Alex Jones, and have done successfully a few weeks ago. Twitter was one of the few ones that allowed him to be on there. Yesterday, Alex Jones had a big fiasco, had a huge media day where he screamed at Jack Dorsey, confronted Marco Rubio, went after CNN's Oliver Darcy. And again, the video with Oliver Darcy of CNN is the main reason that many news reports are saying was why Alex Jones has been banned. And again, one of the most, just looking at the video, honestly, again, just to reiterate, the most insulting thing was that Oliver Darcy looked like a raccoon that crawled out of an animal's butt. That was the justification. That, to me, is the reason of what Alex Jones said to why he is permanently banned. Again, nothing compared to what is actually happening on Twitter that is far more corrosive, far more insulting, and this is definitely a selective targeting of Alex Jones right now, which, again, we don't agree with, but destroying the dialogue is something that people should not celebrate. I'm looking at Twitter right now. A lot of people are celebrating. You're celebrating pretty much the precedent that big tech monopolies will decide what will be allowed in the public discourse. Big tech monopolies, of course, connected with governments. As we know, these big tech monopolies are also working with China to censor information from a very authoritarian Chinese regime that has a social credit rating system that punishes journalists for criticizing their government and stops them from even purchasing high-speed internet, stops citizens of their country from being able to travel on certain airlines, from having their kids in schools, and destroys their public life for just simply criticizing authority. This is what this issue is about. It's not about Alex Jones. It's not about when he's been wrong or when he's been right. This is an issue of freedom. Do we have the freedom and a public discourse to discuss ideas without it being censored? And the people celebrating it are saying, yes, censor speech because my emotions and my feelings are hurt because they've been socially engineered and programmed in a way to call for their own enslavement. And that is ridiculous and that is stupid, and this needs to be called out. The alarm bells need to be raised. Share this video with your friends and family members. Again, we're doing this on YouTube. This started with Alex Jones. A lot of other people have been hit. A lot of people on the left have been hit as well. And it's only going to continue to a more draconian, enslaved state with some of the huddled masses just foaming at the mouth, celebrating this like dumb freaking Seahawks with just fish flying in their face. It's stupid. It's so stupid, Jason. Sorry.
No, it's super upsetting. And, I'm looking in the comments, and some people are saying, by the way, Twitter in the background, it's all over the place. Again, he's #1 trending. I mean, there's Alex Jones, Scream Master right there. Basically, we have to come to his side. The Congress isn't doing their job.
No, I disagree, Jason. We don't have to come to. I don't want to go to his side. I don't want that side. I don't want that side. I don't want to be on that side at all. He can be on his side. He could be on his side. I'm on my side, but he deserves a voice, whether I like him or not like him. Everyone deserves a voice.
Well, again, I'm not saying you have to agree with the man.
Of speech, believe in freedom of speech, even for your enemies. This is the whole epitome of freedom of speech, and this is an issue and a principle that is far more important than him that I personally believe in.
Well, the way I'm kind of looking at it is if you watch those Louder with Crowder, Change My Minds, he's always like, I would be side and side, arm in arm with you on this issue. And on the issue of Alex Jones having a voice and freedom of speech, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm always going to be. There are repercussions for those that lie about people, and it's called libel. And he's currently entrenched in a bunch of lawsuits. So we'll see. Those lawsuits are actually in a civil court with actual citizens that judge him. You understand? So it's going to be a jury of his peers. And in those cases, I think that's where you get your justice if you go over the top, if you defame somebody. You don't deplatform them. You don't take them off the largest social media venues and say, guess what? You don't have a First Amendment, Luke.
Yeah. And just so people know, as of right now, Alex Jones is #2 trending in the United States, with InfoWars being #4. So #4 is InfoWars, and #2 is, of course, Alex Jones, that are trending right now on Twitter. And Twitter, also, new breaking news coming in, is actively looking at all the other accounts associated with InfoWars, giving them a permanent ban, like we saw Prison Planet being banned for 12 hours, and are looking into banning more people who are associated with him. So, of course, this is a selective witch hunt. This is obviously done on purpose. And if you're going to ban him for saying someone looked like a raccoon that crawled out of an animal's butt, you might as well ban 3/4 of the other Twitter users out there for saying mean things. People say mean things on the internet. This is what the internet is. This is a big proponent of it. This is a big part of it. And now them selectively enforcing it just shows that there's a bigger reason that this is happening. This is not for their terms of services. This is to control dialogue. This is so they could tell you what they want you to hear. This is so they could decide, saying, we're the daddies here. We're going to tell you little kids, you little peons, you little whatever, pubertians or whatever the hell you are, that we're in charge here. We decide what you get to see and not see. And that's something that I will never accept, no matter who they go after and who they censor.
No, absolutely not. It's absolutely 110% unacceptable, my friend. And we have to get together on the issues of free speech. Whether this was Alex Jones or somebody that I've never agreed with, Unfortunately, I think that people like Richard Spencer should have a voice. People like David Duke should have a voice. People like Louis Farrakhan should have a voice.
Linda Sarsour.
Yeah, all these people should be able to speak, and if you disagree with them, you are more than welcome to speak out against their ideals. And I'm a big advocate of more speech, not less, because abhorrent speech can be countered with intelligent speech. I want to go to one of our new members, Luke. Thank you so much, Ricardo R. He says, thank you guys for going live. We need you guys to do more live streams. Thanks again. So thank you, Ricardo R., for being a member, a subscriber. It helps us out so much. I want to hit a couple more of these because we are getting some super chats here, and guys, it helps so much. You are very good except economics. Fix that libertarian shizzle and join forces with Jimmy Dore and Abby Martin and such while there is time. Well, I have had Robbie Martin on. Abby recently got censored through Telesur, but through an Indiegogo campaign actually raised enough that they're going to be at least releasing some of their latest documentaries. I'm working on getting her on some We Are Change, guys, so everybody tweet at Abby Martin, tell her you want her on the We Are Change, and we'll see if we can get her on here. Trues. Tell Mundane Matt to show the YouTube report history on the day Alex Jones got taken down. I'll have to look into that. Joey Shoes #1, Internet Bill of Rights. Again, I don't know that we need more government. I don't know that Luke, I was against net neutrality. What a lot of people who were all for net neutrality didn't understand, Luke, was that it was around for less than a decade. We were fine in the internet from 1994 or whatever when it started to launch, and AOL was around all the way up through 2010 or 11, I think it got passed, right? It was around for 7 or 8 years, and everybody started to crap themselves that all of a sudden their digital freedoms were going to be taken away now that there was no net neutrality. There's been no difference whatsoever, folks. Trues, Fourth Amendment needs to cover the internet.
Yeah, just really quick before you stop there does have to be credit where credit is due. I do disagree with Jimmy Dore. I do disagree with Secular Talk. I do disagree with Glenn Greenwald on a number of issues. They're a little bit more left-leaning, but we have to give all those three individuals, and there's other people out there. Let me know in the comment section who else is out there. But those three individuals, Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, Secular Talk, have all stood up for the basic ideas of freedom of speech. They all very much disagree with Alex Jones, but they have all stood up and said, this is wrong. This is something that I'm pushing my personal emotions away from, rationally thinking about, and saying this censorship is absolutely wrong. So I want to give credit to Secular Talk, to Jimmy Dore, to Glenn Greenwald for having a principled stance and not cowering to all the peer pressure that has been being put on them by a lot of crazy people saying, I don't care what is principled, I don't care what your morals are, we don't like them, it's good that the big tech monopolies are pushing them away. They're getting a lot of hatred from their own base, and they don't care because they stand on basic principles like we do here on this YouTube channel. And there's very few people who have principles, who don't cater to peer pressure, who don't cater from the online crowds that also could be manipulated. As we know, governments, especially the Israeli and the U.S. government, have official units in their military section that is used to quail public discourse and to push public discourse in a specific way that benefits them through social media trolls. There's trolls armies literally financed by your tax dollars in order to push public opinion. So that's another important note to take. But again, big credit to Glenn Greenwald, Jimmy Dore, Secular Talk. They definitely are not on the side of Alex Jones, but they're calling for his protection of his speech. And that is something big, and that is something that does need to be applauded.
Absolutely, and again, we don't have to disagree all the time. And I really do enjoy the Jimmy Dore show, but there are certain times I start cringing at some of the things they talk about. But at the same time,
I'm like, you son of a god, commie, God no, why can't you see that?
Well,
again, I'm reaching out to all these people, and I think it would be great to have the debates on this because they're rational people. They're people who have morals, who have principles, and they're stand-up people, and those are the people that I think should be heard, should be promoted, and should be supported, even though we disagree with them, because you judge a person by their principles. You judge a person for what they stand for, not because of the lies and propaganda and just bipartisan hackery that they're pushing on people to push an agenda, to push a gang, to push a side, to push an ideology, no matter how factually incorrect it is, like we see from the Young Turks, who, the Young Turks, by the way, they're the supposed progressive types. Again, progressives have a long history of using government intervention to stop big business and out of control business. But it was the Young Turks, the progressive Young Turks, who were making the argument that, Facebook, Google, or a private company, if they want to ban Alex Jones, they could do that. And they were happy about the news. So the Young Turks obviously have no principles. There's a lot of left-wing Hillary Clinton, George Soros money all intertwined within their institutions. They're a multi-million-dollar news organization that started here on YouTube, but they have absolutely no morals and principles and should not be supported and should be called out. We got another super chat by Avatas. Avatas, thank you so much for your super chats. I've seen your name a few times here. Really appreciate it very much. And Avatas asks, hey, Luke, who is the next to get unpersoned? Well, probably all of us. Probably We Are Changed, probably Glenn Greenwald, probably Jimmy Dore, probably Secular Talk, probably Abby Martin, probably everyone else. If it's not just outright unpersoned, it's also economically attacked, like we have seen all the big alternative news sites, whether it's Collective Evolution, the Anti-Media, the Free Thought Project. They all had to fire a significant number of staff because they have been hurt financially by the algorithms that the big social media giants are pushing on them, that is squashing and killing them financially. And again, your super chat, your $2 mean a lot more to us than you know, because this is the only way we really get to operate. Without you, Avatas, and everyone else giving the super chats, we would not be here. We would be screwed. Without cryptocurrencies and Steemit and all the cryptocurrency donations, we would not be here. Again, this is a dual-pronged problem. They're attacking the free flow of information, not just with permanent banning, but many other routes that you need to be aware of. It's not just banning. There's a lot of other things happening behind the scenes that you guys don't see, that we are getting screwed over majorly. And it's very hard to even continue this operation. Sorry, Jason, continue with the super chats.
You got it. This one again from Trues. Bill in Congress right now to fine Internet Corp $10 million a day unless they give the info DOD or a police request without a warrant. I'm sure that bill's there because, again, this is just the police, but the national security apparatus already has access to all that digital information, and that should be the bigger issue we're talking about. And that has been revealed now, without a doubt. I've been talking about it for years and years and years. I put it in my film Invisible Empire in 2010. Everything I said was confirmed not only by Bill Binney and other whistleblowers, but, of course, the Edward Snowden leaks. And we've just seen more and more leaks, such as Vault 7 coming out of WikiLeaks, proving the point again that government cannot be trusted whatsoever with your information. And they have no rules on what they're spying on. They're taking all of it. Next one from
all of it, and expect again whistleblowers to be next. Whistleblowers will be the next person. The next people who will be affected by this most severely. Whistleblowers serve a great deal of pressure and a great threat against the current power establishment, and they will be targeted next. That's why we saw U.S. senators openly ask Jack Dorsey yesterday, hey, why haven't you banned WikiLeaks yet? Just brazenly saying, as an agent of the U.S. government, hey, when there's government officials talking about all the illegal bad things happening, why haven't you stopped them from releasing that information? This is the absurdity. This is the level of tyranny that people deem acceptable, and now people are celebrating. I'm reading some of the comments here saying, oh, yes, finally, we banned him. Yes, we did this. Yes, hooray. Yeah, you guys are a bunch of asinine idiots. Again, I don't like the man. I don't like him. But the ideas and principles are for free speech, are for public discourse where everyone is able to have a voice. This is what makes our society great. This is why we still have the limited amount of freedoms that we have, and the reason why freedoms are slowly being eviscerated and taken away from us because of that lack, because of this censorship, which only will progress society downwards towards more enslavement and more power by the very few. And if you don't see that, you got your head up your butt, or you're a raccoon crawling out of an animal carcass, like Jones said. And you still are having a hard time chewing through it.
The old carcass trick. Oh, there it is again. We got more super chats. This one's from Baki Schmal. Thank you so much for the $10, my man. Every little bit helps, and that's a really great super chat. Alex Jones has more soul and decency. Who exposed 9/11 false flag shootings like Sandy Hook, Las Vegas, GMO, cancer foods, deadly vaccines, chemtrails, and etc.? Regards from New York City. Well, I want to pause there for one moment. So I agree with most of what you said there. However, I take odds at what he has said about Sandy Hook. I'm going to give everybody a little bit of inside Jason Bermas baseball here on the Sandy Hook situation. Now, I don't buy into the crisis actors nonsense. The crisis actor thing started to come out a little bit after 9/11 truth. You started hearing everybody was an actor. Nothing was real. Everything was fake. This person's an actor. Nobody died. No blood. I got news for you. The people that carry out these type of events don't have a problem with killing the kids. They don't. And I was in touch with the InfoWars office through 2012 on a daily basis. Now, some of the things that I wanted to point out that actually did happen were the fact that the initial report said that the shooters were dressed up like clergy. You can actually listen to a police call where they are chasing down 3 people dressed like nuns in a purple van as they go towards the airport in Danbury, Connecticut. I know it's hard to believe. Now, it also suggests that there were actually teachers targeted there. I downloaded all the FBI documents that were declassified, all the stuff that was blacked out, and some of the teachers that died there, well, guess what? Their cars in the parking lot were also shot up. There's a lot of things that had problems with Sandy Hook, but going the route of saying that it was all a hoax, that it was all synthetic, that nobody died, not taking reality into account is what put him in hot water there. And that's why I think it's important for us to be free speech advocates, Luke, because I have to be able to differentiate a conspiracy theory or something that is liable from reality and real questions. And I think that there were legitimate questions there, but I think a lot of people jumped on this crisis actor bullschniz bandwagon. What are your thoughts?
Well, I do think there is. I mean, there's always reports coming out of major events that first come out that are just absolutely wrong. That does need to be stated. And I do believe that there is a concerted effort, whether organized or not organized. We saw Cass Sunstein's, Obama's information czar, come out before and say that we need to disrupt people in real life and online from talking about government conspiracies, not government theories, but government conspiracies, and we need to actively fight them. That protocol, I believe, has been initiated through the military spending of online trolls, and I do believe there is a disinformation campaign to push out the craziest theories out there to kind of delegitimize any form of just rational questioning. Now, when it comes to this whole debate, this is just like way too much to even handle right now. The courts obviously will decide, and I think we need to understand here whether you libel, whether you slander, if you do commit an act that does violate a law, you could deal with it through a court, and that's the proper way of doing it. With Facebook, Google, and Twitter coming up and saying, no, we're going to tell you what's right and wrong. This is a huge overstep of power. This is a huge overstep of their responsibility that they're putting on themselves. And they're ultimately going to shoot themselves in the foot because they're pushing on a burden that is far too heavy for any person to handle. And these matters are best left to civil courts that people could deal through their problems. So, again, I hate speculating. I hate just pushing out theories out there. When I see something, I raise the information, I show where I got the information from, and let people make up their own minds and their own decisions. You're going to be a lot more effective that way than if you are just telling people that you think something 100% happened, or if you talk to Q on the phone, or you got anonymous sources about this and saying this is 100% confirmed. You're not going to win anyone's hearts and minds. You're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot of their respect. And we have seen a lot of that through alternative media that has been lazy, that has been sloppy, that has been sensational, that does need to be called out. And even with all that, I still believe we should all have the free access to have that discourse and to be able to discuss it no matter how wrong it is.
No, I absolutely agree. And again, Luke, speech, until you libel or defame somebody, or you literally screaming fire in a theater when there is none, causing the chance for physical harm to others, should be unrestricted. And that's what this country is about. Because I may not agree with your speech, I may find it abhorrent, but I'm going to defend your right to say it till my very last breath. And because I want free speech, I want my family to have free speech. I want society. I want the American dream to be a real thing, Luke. I want us to be a beacon of liberty. And if we start self-censoring ourselves, which has been such a huge movement with this no new social justice warrior craze and everything's virtue signaling or cultural appropriation, and the language has been tweaked into this semantical thing where if you just slightly deviate from what the authoritarian norm is, you are raked over the coals. And that's why True's super chat of hashtag Day of the Rakes is so good. Todd Gibson, also with a super chat, Luke. You guys are great, money well spent. Said you aren't I don't know what that is, a Q-ite, laugh out loud. Oh, that's what that is. No, we're not Q-ites here. Net neutrality is another Patriot Act fake name. And by the way, I want to tell this to people. We could have probably got an extra 10 to 50,000 YouTube subscribers over the past 6 months total net if we bought into the Q nonsense. If we said that we were emailing Q and we were on the phone with Q and that we were solving the riddles and the puzzles, that we would have been wildly popular. But this has never been about the tick clicks, guys. This is about reality, the real issues, and we're not going to sensationalize things like Jones.
Well, Jason, it's simple. It's simple. With the work that you do, can you sleep at night knowing that you're doing the right ethical thing, or are you going to have a hard time sleeping at night knowing that you're fooling people and being a liar and being a charlatan, just doing something to become more popular to feed your insecurities and ego? That's basically what the bigger issue is here that a lot of people are not dealing with, and it's sad seeing just people just lie, just ultimately just straight up lie, trying to convince people it's the truth to push an agenda or to become more popular. And that is true with a lot of individuals in independent media, and it needs to be called out. And even regardless of all that, again, I have to reiterate, I don't agree with the man. There's so many different faults in there, but getting rid of him in a national discourse will hinder so many different things, not only in the future, but also just push him and propagate him to be a bigger figure than he is now, right now. And again, they chose him as the target. He is the target right now. He doesn't need to be banned. I think we're human beings. We're all adults here. We can decide what is right and what is wrong. We don't need big tech, daddy monopoly corporations and guys with suits deciding what we can and cannot hear. This is something that, again, is very dangerous to them. Conversation, communication is extremely dangerous through the power structures, and they are protecting the power structures because they work with the power structures. Whether it's the corporations or big governments, they are entwined with elements of society that do not benefit humanity, and that is very clear through their actions. Look at Saudi Arabia's involvement with Twitter. Gosh darn, look at China's involvement with Google. Look at Pakistan's involvement with Facebook. Gosh darn it, these people are absolutely just out for themselves, and this is another step that they're taking to eliminate us from calling out their hooey and their bullcrap that they keep pushing on us. All right, let's get through these super chats really quick, Jason.
Yeah, I think that your camera just gave out. You're just a black screen right now, but
I'm gonna keep listening and change the battery.
Yeah, you got it. Guys, thank you so much again. True's U.S. government isn't spying on citizens. The U.S. allies like the U.K. are spying on U.S. citizens and give that info for free to the DoD. That's wrong, True's. You need to look up Hepting versus AT&T. He blew the whistle in the late 90s. Through each telecommunication company, there are servers that split all of the info. Let me repeat that. All of the info off to the NSA, to other intelligence organizations. This is a fact. It was twice thrown out of court. Keith Olbermann was the only person in the mainstream to actually do the story, and PBS did one in-depth story. Go ahead, Luke.
No. I'm just checking, making sure my camera works now. Just
well, it is Luke. Yes,
Go ahead.
You
Keep
are
going
moving,
with the
my
super
friend.
chats.
All right, so we got a couple super chats from our man Jeff Berwick, the Dollar Vigilante, Luke's partner in crime on many of the adventures. Looking forward to the finalized Mexico Anarchy Town mini doc that you guys went on a trip about 3 weeks ago.
I literally still have to edit that and shoot a video right now about the White House source, the resistance source that the New York Times released an op-ed on. So I'm going to literally right after this broadcast shoot and edit that video, release it tonight, and then hopefully later tonight or tomorrow morning spend all day working on the documentary that me and Jeff Berwick did in Cherán, Mexico, a city that overthrew their government, their police, and their local cartels and created an anarchistic society that has a power structure that is through the communities, that is horizontal, and that is separated from any form of corruption, that is actually thriving in many different ways. So that documentary is going to be super exciting. I'm very happy to release that. We got more breaking news. We got a lot of people in the Twitterverse right now calling for people to sign the signature, saying that they want to sign the official White House petition website. And if they have over 500,000 signatures, that they'll be able to get the White House to officially address the censorship of Alex Jones and other right-wingers. The hashtag that's going around right now is called Stop the Bias, and that's the hashtag that I'm seeing a lot of people on social media promote and push in order to sign a petition to get government permission to even address how the big tech monopolies who are connected with government are censoring people online. So yeah, all right, let's continue with the super chats really quickly.
Yeah, I'm not even going to read Berwick's, but we love you too, Jeff. That's all I can say. There's three good ones in there. Oh, I don't want to trigger anybody. I don't think we're going to trigger. We might trigger somebody in the audience, so I'm going to not say it.
I don't care.
Okay, so the first one, and by the way, Jeff is hot pink. It's just a J. First one is gay. The second one is shills, and the last one is dirty hippie. That may be true for the beaded gentleman there. I know I'm a little sweaty, but it's been a heat wave in upstate New York. And guys, just so you know, I did get an air conditioning unit. I can't plug it in any of these outlets because it blows my fuse every time. Great in my bedroom, not in my office. You're just going to have to put up with sweaty Burmis. All right, let's keep going. Eyes wide open are yours. Hey, you guys, do we get Congress to act? Sound the alarms. I don't trust Congress. I don't know how they're going to act except for how they always have as establishment clowns that are subservient to the banksters and the elitist class. This is from Trues, Krauts, and T. Save us with your vibrating nip clamps. I'll try to do that. Jesse Schmidt. Thank you so much, Jesse. Awesome of you. Great to see you back. Have you thought of organizing mass shifts away from YouTube and other platforms to something else like BitChute? You guys are likable enough to convince a significant majority of YouTubers to promote the switch. You know, there's a new one called Bit.tube that Ryan Herbison, who works for us and does some great work, turned me on to this weekend. I'm looking into that. It looks like a really promising platform. And of course, we would love to have the power to have a mass shift, but what you have seen is that many people are posting the material to other sites just like we are, and even people like Mike Adams have launched their own site like Real.video. Guys, so many super chats. Thank you so much. I think this is the last one or the second to last one. Blackworm Walking. Does the Constitution not apply to these private companies at all? No, it doesn't. That's insane because these companies are operating out of the U.S. What they're doing should not be legal. Also, here is some money. Thank you, Blackworm. Here's how it works. These LLC, limited liability corporations, have essentially made themselves people in every respect except for prosecuting them criminally. I just did a video this week on the main channel about Monsanto and their slew of current lawsuits. Guess what? No matter how bad they've done, no matter how many people have died from their products, none of their CEOs are going to prison. They're paying some money off at worst. Unfortunately, that's how our system works. You got anything to say about that, Luke?
Of course, the system is corrupt. The powerful protect the powerful, and we're seeing that with what just happened with the banning of free speech and the banning of Alex Jones and InfoWars and the continual banning of anyone who stands in their way. So expect a lot of us to get hit in the future. Again, this is just people who are sitting on top in these frickin' luxury little offices deciding, yeah, we're just going to play God today. We're going to set the national discourse. We're going to set and decide how people feel, what people believe in, and they do that with the control of social media. This should be more apparent, more evident than ever. Social media is a big trap. It is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. But in the hands that it is in right now, it is most certainly used for bad. There's a few people wielding a little toothpicks next to the big sword that they have. I don't know. Let's try to effectively use all those toothpicks as much as we can. Stand together, appreciate people who have principles, who have morals, appreciate the people who don't cater to emotions but cater to principles and morals that are far more beyond and far more powerful and far more important than just butthurt feelings of insecurity and ego. Again, that's ultimately is the biggest problem here. Just fear. Fear that they're trying to push on you. Don't be afraid. Things are not as bad as we make them out to be. as a lot of other people make them out to be. Ultimately, we're still in control here. We still have the power. There needs to be a mass exodus. There needs to be alarms bell raised. Yes, that we are dealing with not a good situation, but the way to get out of it is to calmly, rationally think about it, move away, not participate, not give our private information to the corporatocracy, and slowly but surely look at the alternatives which we've been using, which we've been pushing for a number of years now. Again, if you remember, it was 10 years ago that we've been telling you, soon stuff on this platform will be getting censored. We said this on YouTube 10 years ago. It's been happening slowly and surely. And just as slowly as they're moving to get rid of all of us, we have to slowly be moving to create alternatives, which we are and which we have been doing. So again, let's push it. Let's fight for it. We're still not going away anywhere. We're going to be doing this to our last breath. We're going to be doing this no matter what consequences we face. We face a lot of tough consequences, a lot of tough challenges running this independent media operation. It is not easy. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of things standing in our way. There's a lot of things that have been taken away from us. And the only way to really stop that is understanding that we truly hold the power, and your votes, your attention, your clicks, your shares, your donations mean more to us than anything else, and more to other independent creators than anything else. So I just want to thank everyone for being there, supporting us, and being here with us, because again, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. We still got a lot more work to do. Today is only another stepping stone in our continued fight for freedom of speech and the freedom to be able to access all opinions, all voices, disregarding all the other emotional insecurity, ego bullcrap that they try to push on us. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we got one more super chat, and again, thank you so much, because just like Luke said, it's so important for you guys to get involved and allow this media organization to continue. We also have a great t-shirt shop. You get a cool shirt, you help support independent media. Final super chat, JP Tag 33. There are two governments in this country and two citizens. Look up U.S. National on Immigration Government site, not U.S. citizen. Do you guys understand U.S. citizen slave? It's true. Info, contact me. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with, what's his name, type information. He's in my film, Shade the Motion Picture. It's killing me. He's got glasses. Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell has always talked about the two different governments signing your life away with the Social Security Act, having a Social Security number, sovereign citizens. Listen, the bottom line is, the way I look at myself, I'm a free human being with ideas, with emotions, with feelings, and I should have freedom of speech. You should have freedom of speech even when you don't agree with me, and that's what this organization is really all about, a free humanity and moving towards that. I want to remind everybody we've got a backup channel. It's called Pulse Change. I'm posting there all the time. Just did a video on the Kaepernick controversy, the Nike campaign. It's pretty insightful. Go check it out. I'll also be putting up a video later this evening, maybe even live streaming with everybody, about James Mad Dog Mattis and Siri. You're not going to want to miss that one. Blackworm Walking, one more. Thanks for your great work. Thank you for the super chat. Luke, you got anything else to wrap it up with, my friend?
No, we got a lot of content to create, doing a video right after this one, and editing a short documentary about Chiron, which of course is going to be a very, very important video that we're going to release that shows actual anarchy, actual freedom, actual people coming together, getting rid of central planners, central controllers, government, police, and cartel away from their town, and thriving in many different ways. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to have a lot more exciting things coming here your way on youtube.com/wearechange. Stay tuned with me on Twitter @LukeWeAreChange. Let me know what suggestions you guys have while we are still on those platforms and not censored and deplatformed. So appreciate us as much as you can. Don't forget also, most importantly, you guys are subscribed here. People follow me on all these social media networks. You have to understand, we have no control of that. We have no control of what you see, if you get notified, if you don't get notified. I've been seeing countless numbers of people saying, I was just unsubscribed for your channel. I don't know why. I didn't click anything. I'm seeing countless numbers of people saying, not getting any notifications, even though I was specifically asked to have notifications. Remember, the best way to get rid of that is to go to wearechange.org, and in the top right-hand corner, you guys could sign up on our email list. I sent that over. I sent a link over in the chat room right now. Sign up for our email list. We're not sending out emails yet. I still have to figure out the system. I still have to find time. Again, it's mainly me and Jason here doing the majority of the work here. We're definitely strung and stretched through the thinnest, But just sign up on that email list. We're going to probably send out one email a week, just letting you know the most important stuff that we covered, and to let me know what other stuff you guys want me to see reported on the ground. Again, I'm here working for you guys. I'm not working for anybody else. Our main survival depends on you, and I'm here to serve you, the people. So if there's any stories, any specific areas, any specific protests, any specific events you want to see me at, you want to see me either confront politicians or to cover protests or cover situations, let me know, and I will be there on the ground reporting for you, like journalism should be, reporting for the people and not telling people what is happening, but just being there as an actual freaking reporter, which again, it's a novel concept nowadays, especially in our society, where literally all the big news organizations are celebrating voices being censored, like we saw today with Alex Jones, which is just ridiculous. They are not working for the side of humanity. They are not working for you. They are working for their special interests. They are working for themselves. They are working for, ultimately, their big power grab, which just got more powerful today with today's actions. Regardless, love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for a lot more.